ANC struggle stalwart Mendi Msimang. Msimang, who passed away this week, was the former High Commissioner in London in the 1990s and ANC Treasurer-General up to 2007. He was accorded a special official funeral by the President.
Dignitaries assembled at the Christian Revival Church to pay last respects to a struggle stalwart. Mendi Msimang was 89 when he succumbed to cancer at a Pretoria hospital last Monday. President Cyril Ramaphosa hailed him as one of the exemplary leaders of the ANC.
Mendi Msimang was the embodiment of an idea that is simple in conception, but revolutionary in application. The idea that one's purpose in life is to serve others. Throughout a rich and meaningful life, wherever he found himself, whatever responsibilities he was given, and they were many, he was bound by a determination to serve others as he served his movement.
Fellow comrade Dr. Nkosazana Dlamini Zuma also paid her last respect, saying Msimang knew the power of education.
Uncle Mendi taught a lot of us many things, but the love of education. When we came out, a lot of us were very militant, ready to go for military training immediately. And he said to me, you know, we are a fifth-year medical student. It would be irresponsible of you, it would be irresponsible of the movement to let that go to waste. You have to finish your studies and qualify as a doctor.
Msimang's grandson Shaka Sisulu shared a light moment with the mourners.
I have always left your side with something sweet, more knowledge, wisdom, truth. You shared with me deep histories of our families, of the ANC.
Msimang's remains were cremated during a private ceremony at the Pretoria West Crematorium. Offenses Timo, SABC News, Pretoria.
Now, political reporter Mzwandi Lembeche, who was also in attendance at the funeral as the struggle stalwart was laid to rest. Mzwai, thanks for joining us this evening. Obviously, Uncle Mendi was affectionately known to some as so, obviously called him and described him as someone amongst those mourners as a true giant and a driving force for change.
Absolutely, Griselda. I mean, speaker after speaker spoke of the role he played, particularly Griselda, in putting the systems of the ANC. Remember when they came back from exile, they were a party really which had not been in government, and their systems were not really in order. So here was someone who really was able to give direction, and not only that, I mean, he is someone who was involved in a number of activities. I mean, he went to India, he reconnected with the movement there, his movement with the Indian government. Yeah. I mean, the issue of London, Tanzania, the Somafco, that school, which was catering for the cadres of the ANC. So he was part of establishing that school. So his role really was very, very big, but he didn't speak much. I mean, I think it is his work that spoke.
So, you know, a truly unique breed, some would say, who belonged to a class of ANC leaders who cut his teeth alongside the likes of Nelson Mandela and Walter Sisulu, and shaping and strengthening his party both locally and internationally.
That's why President Ramaphosa said, you know, what they need to do as the current leadership is to emulate that kind of example, because this kind of leadership is rare and they are disappearing fast. So this generation now must really take up the baton, because if they are not following in the steps of people like Uncle Mendi, it would be very difficult really to run a proper country. I mean, one of the examples, Griselda, that was even mentioned by Zweli Mkhize, who was also a former TG at some point, was that he is the only TG who left the ANC coffers with surplus of about 47 million rand, and of course the assets of the ANC exceeding 1 billion rand. So you can see this is someone who knew what he was doing, and I'm sure if they were to emulate that example, so they would do better.
You know, Mzwai, over the past couple of days, much has been said about his role in activism. Of course, you'd recall with the likes of his comrades such as Thomas Ngobi. If we look at, for example, at the University of Lesotho, is that some of the things that have come across in this tribute that they paid to this ANC struggle today?
Such is his towering role, Griselda. Again, the president saying he can only compare him to Thomas Ngobi. You know, at some point, Thomas Ngobi was also the Treasurer-General of the ANC, so a very good individual. I mean, he was even joking, saying the TG, Paul Mashatile, and the former TG, Zweli Mkhize, were trying to follow in those footsteps, but they will have to really pull up their socks to be able to fill those shoes, because this is someone really who was not talking too much, and he was not really fond of those public utterances, but all he cared about was to get the job done, and get the job done in the manner which will satisfy everyone. Not only was he a political giant, Griselda, this was someone really who was adored by his family. I mean, you could hear from the grandchildren, you could hear from those around him to say, here is someone who played a critical role in bringing us to a South Africa that we are enjoying today.
Well, our reporter, Mzwandi Lembeche, thank you very much for your time this evening, talking to us, of course, about the tributes that were paid at the funeral of the late ANC stalwart Mendi Msimang. Now, let's take a look at other news this evening. DA leader Mmusi Maimane says South Africans are headed for a black Christmas. He was referring to the current Eskom crisis, which has precipitated power outages